Grossing over $1 billion worldwide and becoming ingrained in popular culture, the Rocky franchise is the pinnacle of cinema. Sylvester Stallone wrote the screenplay for Rocky shortly after watching the championship match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner in March 1975. The movie's characters seem authentic and real, showcasing attributes of actual pugilists and therefore selling the struggles and boxing styles to the audience. So now let's delve into the real-life inspiration behind the franchise's boxers, examining how their techniques and mannerisms reflected the true boxing landscape. Let's obviously start with the main protagonist, Rocky Balboa. Though Chuck Wepner's dogged display against Ali motivated Stallone to write the script, he has denied that Balboa was based on Wepner specifically. This does seem credible. Wepner was a 6'5" mountain of a man and showed supreme confidence.
Tell me something about your boxing background.
Well, I was the National Golden Gloves champion in 1964, the New York AAU champion. I've won 65 straight fights in the amateurs, and I'm 32, 9, and 2 in the pros.
How many fights? That's over 100 fights, isn't it, total?
It's approximately 112.
Yeah.
Amateur and pro, I've never been down around that.
You will. You never been. That's another.
His fighting style was upright and flat-footed, relying upon jabs and crosses while shifting from side to side. Rocky, on the other hand, was generally portrayed as humble and determined, not cocky. In the early films, he deployed a tough slugger style, marching forward, accepting punishment, and relying upon wild hooks and clinches. His smaller stature and clunky movement required him to get in close to fight on the inside, much like a certain 1950s heavyweight.
He had to train. He had to be in better shape than his opponent, otherwise he wasn't going to win, and he knew that. Based on just skill and natural speed and strength, he wasn't going to beat the top heavyweights. So he had to work that hard.
Sharing Italian heritage, a tough demeanor, and a smaller than average stature, the parallels between Balboa and Marciano are clear. The brawling fighting style, punching power, and exceptional stamina underlined further shared traits, but of course, the Rocky films are heavily remembered for their grueling training scenes.
He used to train up in Grossinger's in the airplane hangar, and he'd stay there for 2 months before a fight. He loved training. He loved training.
Rocky was like a hermit, like a Trappist monk. He wouldn't go down to the big glitzy hotel down below where all the stars were on stage every night.
Balboa's montages in the rundown streets or in a cabin in the wilderness directly allude to Marciano's disciplined camps. Additionally, he's literally cited in the films for his bizarre training methods.
Sloppy because you're off balance. Let's try this. Now take this string, tie it to both ankles, leave about 2 feet of slack.
I ain't never had good footwork.
Never mind footwork. Now you're all balanced. Now Marciano had the same problem, and this string cured it. Is the idea that if you can move and you can hit without breaking the string.
Marciano embodied the plucky underdog throughout much of his career, in both size and skill level, so this largely mirrors how Balboa was consistently depicted throughout the movies. The terrifying Soviet super soldier Ivan Drago is a little harder to decipher, but it appears that he's based upon a mixture of boxers from both sides of the Atlantic. With the 6'5" actor Dolph Lundgren being from Sweden, parallels can be drawn with Ingemar Johansson. In his fight with Floyd Patterson, the Swede battered the American from pillar to post. He notably fought in an ungentlemanly manner, punching Patterson while his back was turned, knocking him to the floor. This likely inspired Ivan Drago's dirty tactics, like hitting Apollo Creed after the bell and ignoring the referee's calls. Drago largely uses the Soviet boxing style, relying upon straight jabs and crosses, remaining on the outside and pendulum stepping in and out of range. Hence, Ivan is inspired by real-life Soviet practitioners, especially those that succeeded at the Olympics. With Rocky IV being released in 1985, and in light of the Soviet boycott of the 1984 Games, the writers likely studied Russian boxers from games prior. At the 1980 Olympic Games, the Soviet heavyweight Pyotr Zayev won the silver medal, deploying an aggressive forward-pressing Soviet style, having also battled Muhammad Ali 2 years prior in an exhibition bout. At the Mexico Olympics in 1968, Jonas Sapoulis narrowly lost to George Foreman in a war of attrition, with the two hammering away at each other throughout the gold medal match. Interestingly, the demeanour of Drago, cold, calculated and menacing, more emulates that of Foreman.
Beg your pardon?
You would continue boxing even if you would lose over there.
I beg your pardon? I did not come here to lose.
Both boasted unmatched power, with Drago hitting the punching machine with ridiculous ferocity, while Foreman proceeded to dent a heavy bag repeatedly. The context of Drago's matchups against both Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed, being the US pitted against the Soviet Union, largely harks back to the two iconic bouts between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling in the 1930s. It saw Nazi Germany's prizefighter take on the American heavyweight hero, so there's certainly some parallels there. Now, I love exploring boxing culture in countries and have therefore created a retro Cuban boxing t-shirt. Hopefully the first of many from around the world, but we'll see how we go. If you are somewhat interested and want to support my project, please consider purchasing one. I'd greatly appreciate it. The Shopify link is down below. Thank you, you legends. Apollo Creed is possibly the easiest boxer to decipher, with Wepner against Muhammad Ali having inspired the original script and Creed being the champion which Rocky had to challenge. His character begins to take shape. His charisma and somewhat cocky attitude are certainly evident.
I want all of America, I want the whole world to see me destroy this man after 2 short rounds. Because after this fight, he's going to have to donate what's going to be left of his body to science, but there won't be much. That I can guarantee.
The fight predictions, stirring language and commanding tone are simply reminiscent.
I want to make one prediction. I'm not calling around. I predict that when I meet Joe Frazier, this will be like a good amateur fighting a real professional.
The dance-like footwork, snappy jab and strength in boxing on the outside are all traits synonymous with Ali, and the Creed training scenes showcase exceptional coordination and rhythm, which Rocky frankly lacks. Sorry for the spoiler here, but if you haven't already watched it, you've had 40 years to do so. When Apollo Creed fell to Ivan Drago in dramatic and depressing fashion, refusing to throw the towel in and bowing out on his shield, this reminds me of Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes' fight in 1980. A weathered old Ali, suffering from the early signs of Parkinson's, refused to quit despite being defenseless and brutalized. Hence, Apollo and Ali truly share the mindset of, to defeat me, you must essentially kill me. Interestingly, Stallone noted that Apollo Creed was heavily based on Jack Johnson, a heavyweight from the 1910s who drove fast cars, dated white women, and effectively gave the middle finger to white supremacists. Oh, he was also a pretty good boxer too. I feel like Tommy Gunn from the 5th Rocky movie was based upon someone, but I can't put my finger on who. Oh yeah, Tommy Morrison, the man who beat George Foreman and Donovan Ruddock, winning both the WBO and IBC heavyweight titles. A truly tragic tale of drug usage, huge knockouts, and largely wasted potential. There's actually a boxing documentary about Morrison's career and sad demise, 30 for 30, which is certainly worth a watch if you'd like to learn more.
What's your prediction for the fight then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
The aggressive, hard-hitting Clubber Lang is an interesting one. Though not based upon an individual boxer, Stallone actually wanted Joe Frazier to play the part. Based on this, Lang's ferocious fighting style and vicious hooks make sense. I see Lang as a strange fusion between Sonny Liston and George Foreman, each terrifying in similar ways, using an icy stare and their large physical attributes to intimidate into submission. Clubber's bouts against Rocky saw him throw wild hooks and overhands, and this style emulated that of Liston particularly, with a ranging left hook being the key weapon in his arsenal. He'd pursue his opponents, mirroring their every move, aggressively punching until they crumpled to the canvas.
You don't need it.
You've been carrying me, though.
We haven't been carrying you. I've been protecting you.
No, it's
The story of Mickey trying to protect Rocky from facing Lang is somewhat similar to Cus D'Amato's dilemma. As the trainer of Floyd Patterson, he attempted to protect his fighter, preventing him from fighting Sonny Liston for a long period. When the two eventually did fight, D'Amato had insisted that Patterson shouldn't take up the challenge. This further underlines Clubber's likeness to Sonny Liston. In the opening scene of Rocky 1, Balboa takes on Spider Rico in a low-level brawl in a small grim venue. Spider is an interesting case as he was played by a legitimate heavyweight boxer, Pedro Lovell. The Argentinian had 23 professional bouts, winning 18 of them in total. In the Rocky fight scene, he deploys a swift jab, circling Balboa and pinning him against the ropes. Having watched Lovell's actual fight tapes, especially his bout against Ken Norton, he was genuinely a far smoother operator than the film would have you believe. While he grappled and wrestled Rocky on screen, against Norton he deployed impressive head movement, a stiff jab, and level changes. In his brief film cameo, he is portrayed as a bit of a brute, yet he was certainly a skilled pugilist in the real boxing arena. Featuring in the Rocky Balboa film from 2007, Mason the Line Dixon is played by former professional boxer Antonio Tarver. Having boxed in the light heavyweight and cruiserweight categories, Tarver was a southpaw with an awkward, gangly sort of style, while possessing a devastating rear left hand. I'd say his technique seemed like that of a street fighter at times, with wild swings and unconventional footwork deployed. Notably, in the film, he used a similar style to his own, though obviously overly dramatized and hyper-aggressive, rushing at Rocky throughout the contest. There's speculation that Mason Dixon is largely based upon Roy Jones Jr., as Stallone originally sought the boxer for the role. Additionally, in the movie, there was speculation regarding the quality of the opponents Dixon had faced in his 33-0 career record. This has led to some viewers to believe that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the inspiration, as in 2007, many felt he was spoon-fed boxers who were past their prime or not at the top level. Though there may be an element of this in Dixon's portrayal, I'm not overly convinced. The exhibition match between Dixon and Balboa is mainly centered around the titanic matchup between Michael Moorer and an aging George Foreman, with the two characters filling the roles convincingly. So there you have it. Obviously, many of these theories surrounding who each Rocky character is based upon is speculative and built upon my own interpretation. I'm therefore very interested to hear your own takes. Have I missed any real-life boxers? Who do you think is the best and most dangerous Rocky character? Let me know all this down in the comments below. If this video gets 500 likes, I'll start making a breakdown of all the Creed characters to evaluate who exactly they are based upon. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, it really does mean the most. Why not grab a t-shirt while you're here? All the best guys, see you soon. Cheers.